Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool. And do you have what I would call a bucket list tool? I've had several over the years, and these are just tools that I don't necessarily need, but I really want. And in the past, I had 3 snap-ons that were on the list, and I have managed to get them all. The first was this snap-on adjustable handled screwdriver with interchangeable bits. And I had seen one of these. I just thought when it came out, I mean, it's not that old. It just seemed over the top, had to have one. I actually have several of them now. Of all my bucket list tools, this is the one that I actually use definitely the most. Fabulous tool. But there are a couple others. I've always liked large adjustable wrenches, and the symbolism here behind, you know, a giant snap-on adjustable wrench, orange handle, you know, is just intoxicating. So I had to get that at some point, and I did. It turns out it's a really handy wrench. I wouldn't mind a larger jaw width here, but for most things, this is just, it's a really sweet wrench. It's large, it's expensive, it's bigly branded snap-on, but anyway, that was one of them. The next snap-on was their biggest pair of Linemen Pliers. I love Linemen Pliers. I use them for everything, occasionally even what they're made for, but Snap-on makes one that they brand the Lineman. This is the number 59AHLP, and the moment I noticed these on the truck, I just thought those are just amazing. When I got them, they were like $60, which at the time seemed really high. You know, now with inflation and everything, you'd think, wow, that's a screaming deal. But anyway, I love them. Great. It's just I like some of the bigger tools, and this big snap-on was great. Another one that I had was a Grand Force Brooks American felling axe. This thing is a beast. This is a monster. And this thing here is 35 inches long. You can see that. I don't fell trees very often, and when I do, I usually use a chainsaw, but I always wanted one of these guys. Just some, you know, the premier brand in the world and one of the best American felling axes on the planet. And I finally got one, and now when I look at the price of these things, they've gone up like another 100%. It's kind of crazy. But anyway, that was another bucket list tool. The latest one that I just got was a Stiletto Titanium Pry Bar. Now, this is a kind of a trim or finishing pry bar. It's not as strong as, you know, maybe if this was a version, they do make a version of this guy in the stainless steel. This is the stainless, I mean in the titanium, excuse me. This is the stainless steel, and I've just beat the crap out of this thing. It's pretty good, but I don't like the profile for a kind of a specialty pry bar, and I'll show you why. One is this thing here. If I could cut this off, this is designed to put onto a board, and you pound it, and then it forms an opening around a nail head that allows you to get this in there, but you can see I've pretty much mangled that. Anyway, this is the stainless steel one. It's pretty heavy, really nice. This works great for what it is, for this kind of a, you know, a decon or pry bar. But I wanted a super light one. This is 5 ounces. It's full titanium. Very simple design. Now, people have had trouble, you know, snapping off the corners. This is very thin. Titanium can be brittle. Sort of all depends. But I wanted something with a knife-like edge, and that has it. And that's because this is probably going to go in something like a bug-out bag, or it's going to go into a specialty kit. It's not designed for daily use, although if I was doing a new wood floor, you know, maybe retrimming a living room or something, I might use it. But I've got other trim tools, and you can get much less expensive ones. But super light titanium. I've also heard of people who snapped off the very tips here. I expect that. But what I want is an almost invisibly present ultralight pry bar that if I really want to wail on something, you know, I've never heard of anyone breaking it from about right here going in to about right here. It just doesn't break. It might flex a little, but titanium is incredibly strong. It's just very hard to work with, very hard to isolate as a pure element. But overall, that was always on my bucket list. So I always looked at, titanium pry bars. In fact, I might end up someday with a titanium hammer. That's still on my list. But I'm wondering, what bucket list tools do you have? What are the tools that you just someday really wish you had, even if you don't need it? And what are the tools that just always stand out, as something that is like a goal? I want to own that someday. Anyway, let me know in the comments. And with that, Doc out.